There's one thing that always seems to come up whenever I start talking about Starfield. I say we dive into it a little bit and really dig to the bottom of people's problems. And that is that Bethesda bad, Paul. Bethesda bad. Glitches and terrible games, and just it won't be worth it at all. So why are we even talking about the game?
Because as much as I'll say this, as much as the internet thinks Bethesda bad, Bethesda not bad.
Bethesda make mistake. Bethesda does have glitches. I'll say that much. But to be quite honest, have you ever jumped into a Bethesda game and actually not wanted to play it because of glitches?
No, never had it. I mean, I had some issues with Fallout 76 when it first released.
That's different. I wasn't even thinking that, honestly. That's another room.
Yeah. It's also important to differentiate Bethesda from Fallout 76 and say Fallout 4 and Bethesda, the Microsoft subsidiary.
Right.
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it felt like a lot of pressure was put on Bethesda to produce games like Fallout 76 because it could make them money, and they needed money to keep the doors open and the lights on. But after, they got sold to Microsoft, Bethesda doesn't have to care about that anymore. No one has to sit around and be like, okay, we got to figure out how to pay money. It's like Big Daddy Microsoft is just throwing the money around, so you don't have to worry about it. You just focus on making your game.
They got that space money.
Yeah, they got that Bill Gates money.
They got that we will build a real spaceship money.
Yeah. So as a result, it may be Hopium. I'm not going to deny that it may be Hopium, but I think what we're more likely to see is we're going to see the pinnacle of Bethesda games in the sense that in the modern era, in the sense that Bethesda is much better at open world storytelling games without linear plots, or really rigid plots, because every time they've done that, they've kind of fallen on their face.
Yeah.
But every single game they've ever done has had better combat. The combat of Skyrim was much better than it was in Oblivion. The combat in Fallout 3 was, or Fallout 4 is just head and shoulders above Fallout 3 and New Vegas. It's just so tight and good. The gunplay feels really good. Obviously, there's some places you can improve, but there is a lot of improvement over the game, and they've also taken a lot of modders and a lot of mod ideas into these games to improve their experiences overall. So, as much as Bethesda can make mistakes and has problems, as anyone who will say Bethesda bad will almost always say, "Oh, I won't buy it at release. I'll wait till modders make it work." Yeah, which is true. If we're talking about like a game that at least seems like the scope that we're looking at with Starfield, multiple planets, exploration, all these sorts of things, you're gonna have a pretty decent background for a lot of modding potential at the very least with that. Now, would I say jump out and buy it on launch? Probably not. This is still Bethesda.
Yeah. and honestly, there are easier ways to get it than to buy it. Like go get a month of Game Pass for a fraction of the price. Yeah, and get it day one
it for free.
Sponsored by Microsoft.
There's trailers. Please. There are trial editions you can get it for free. So you want to go try it for free? Make a Microsoft account. When it releases, drop Game Pass, and suddenly you've got a free copy of Starfield you can play.
In addition to every other game that they make, it is actually a pretty cool deal. But I mean, it'll come out day one. Don't get it day one, but also consider that even if it's a glitchy game, right? If this is a decent space game, I think it's going to be a success because they don't need to knock it out of the park. They just need to start off this series without flopping it off right out the gate, right? And that'll show everybody else that they can sell 10 million copies and people will make more space games.